So Marcus Aurelius was a Roman philosopher and emperor back in literally like the 2nd century. And even though he's old as hell, a lot of his philosophies and ways of going about life are really still relevant today. He was a Stoic, which there's a lot of schools of thought inside of the philosophy of Stoicism. I'm going to go into the most important ones that I've implemented into my life. The controlling of your own anger, controlling of your own emotions in general, not letting your physical body affect your mental willpower and your inner soul, along with letting things outside of your control and accidents that happen, not really letting them affect you. He wrote a book called Meditations, which was never really supposed to get published, and he never thought that it would get published, but then it got published. And it's essentially a timeline, not a timeline, but it just shows his thoughts and his journals throughout the day. A lot of his journals and his thoughts in there are used as a guide in the Stoic philosophy. Some of those being the separation of emotion from action and being able to really decide what you want to do, not based off of your feelings, but based off of what the best decision is. Realize that all humans feel emotion, fear, hate, anger, pain, all of that shit, right? We all feel it. You might think that Stoics don't feel emotion or they don't show emotion or whatever, but I would kind of argue differently. It's not that they don't feel emotion, it's that they feel the emotion, process the emotion, and embrace it or discard it based off of whether it serves them a higher purpose or not. If someone does me wrong and I'm tight or I'm upset or I'm angry or whatever, I'm able to process that emotion, feel it, understand why I'm feeling it, and then discard it because it serves me no purpose. On the other hand, if I'm happy and I have joy and something good happens, I can embrace that emotion and let it fulfill me. So it's not that they don't have emotion, it's that they're able to process and sort through their emotions very effectively and not let those emotions affect their decision making. Humans have emotions, humans feel things, it's just part of the human experience. All emotions are instinctual. You know, you can't really control it to a degree. But once you do feel that emotion, you are able to harness it and decide whether or not you want to embrace it or discard it. One of the biggest things that he says is that accidents are bound to happen and things that are out of your control are bound to happen, and they shouldn't have an effect on you. If someone talks shit about you or your boss promotes someone else due to favoritism or no one shows up to your birthday party, that all those things are happening to you, but they are outside of your control. So even though they involve you, they shouldn't have an effect on how you go about your day and how you move forward. Outside circumstances should never have an effect on you. They shouldn't cause any stress in your life. They shouldn't cause any worry in your life because these are things you cannot control. You have no ability to change the outcome of these situations, so there's no reason for you to stress. It only has an effect on you if you let it have an effect on you. So not letting others' decisions, actions, emotions have an effect on you is super important because it allows you to not only be more independent individual, but not relying on other people's emotions and actions to determine how you feel and what you do. Marcus Aurelius is a big proponent of being able to deal with harder emotions that would come out of stuff like that, like anger and spite and all that stuff. Being able to control your anger is super important. It's obviously hard to control your anger, and it's hard to not want to get revenge at someone who does you wrong. Anger really serves no purpose, nor does revenge for that matter. If it doesn't serve you a purpose and it doesn't make your future better and your journey to success better, then there's no point in retaliating. Revenge is unnecessary because it doesn't serve you a purpose, you know, and it's hard because you feel like someone's getting over on you, you feel like someone might be taking advantage of you because they do you wrong and you do nothing back. But not only does it take a stronger person to do that, it shows that you are only focused on your journey to success, and the things you are focused on are only good when you don't retaliate. When you put someone else's shitty energy back into the world, it doesn't serve anyone any good. If you're not worried about them, you're only focused on yourself and you're only focused on your own success. The soul is something that should be unaffected by outside circumstances, and that goes as far as, you know, your own physical body. Physical suffering is really nothing that should waver the human soul. In the gym, especially, if you're training to failure or things start to get fucking hard and the reps start to get hard, like if you're doing bicep curls, you're like, damn, this shit really hurts. Just because your physical body is hurting doesn't mean that you should stop. He says that if your body is to complain and your limbs are to complain, then let them. So basically, if you're burning out on preacher curls, quit being a bitch and do 10 more. Marcus Aurelius was kind of the first person to really fucking say train a failure without really knowing what the fuck it meant. Your journey to success and your long-term goals serve a higher purpose, right? So it allows us to not be short-sighted and have a longer-term outlook. Since it's like controlling your emotions, right? If you're on a bulk and you start losing your abs, you're instinctively going to be like, oh my God, like maybe I should, you start feeling bad, you start gaining weight, you start whatever. But if you're able to separate that emotion and realize that you have a longer-term goal and you're not being so short-sighted, it'll help you overall achieve so much more than if you were to just act off of your emotion and do cuts and do whatever and kind of stay stagnant. Realize that all humans feel emotion: fear, hate, anger, pain, all of that shit, right? We all feel it. It's our ability to process that emotion, control that emotion, and either embrace it or discard it based on whether it serves a higher purpose. And that's what makes you a stronger person. It's very important for us to control our emotions and not deny that they exist.